Damn, so they really named a deck after a dueling streamer, huh? Synchron Quantum aims to set up an almost entirely unbreakable board, ending on Cyberse Quantum Dragon, Cyberse Wicked, and sometimes Honeybot. Cyberse Wicked can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and any Cyberse monster he points to can't be destroyed by card effects. Honeybot makes it so any monster it points to can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And Cyberse Quantum Dragon, if you control a Link monster, makes it so that the opponent can't target monsters for effects or attacks except for himself. The way you set these guys up is by having Cyberse Wicked in the extra monster zone, pointing down to both Cyberse Quantum Dragon and Honeybot. Cyberse Quantum Dragon is going to protect Cyberse Wicked and Honeybot from targeting, destruction, and attacks. Cyberse Wicked is going to protect himself, Cyberse Quantum Dragon, and Honeybot from destruction effects, and Honeybot is going to protect Cyberse Quantum Dragon from targeting and destruction effects. This is going to mean that all three of them are both indestructible by card effects and untargetable by card effects, since they'll be protecting each other. And the only monster that they can even attack into will be Cyberse Quantum Dragon himself, since he will be protecting the other two from attacks. But he only has 2500 attacks, so all they have to do is beat over him and it'll be fine, right? Cyberse Quantum Dragon has another effect too, that once per turn, if he's involved in a battle, he can bounce that opponent's monster to the hand without targeting. So if they do get a monster that can attack you, then this guy can prevent that attack anyway. Setting these three up together, you'll have an almost impenetrable board. No targeting, no destruction, no attacking. Against a lot of decks, this is going to be impossible to break. If the opponent has cards that both don't target and don't destroy, then they can deal with this board. However, not every deck has easy access to that, and we have ways that we might prevent those things too. It is important to note that if the opponent can prevent you from going into your links, your Cyberse Quantum Dragon won't be able to give any protection because he does require a link to be on the field for his protection effect. But alright, we can make a nearly unbreakable board. So what? How exactly are we supposed to make that board? Alright, so I do have to be honest with you guys. We aren't always making that entire board. I am going to be able to tell you how to make that entire board, but only if you slap like now. Did you do it? Good. In order to understand how we do get to that best board, first we have to understand the very basic combos of this deck. The combos revolve around the new skill Synchron Quantum, which revolves around our new tuner Cyberse Synchron. Let's just get the restrictions out of the way real quick. So there's a special summon lock in the skill that you can only special summon Cyberse monsters that are light, dark, or earth attribute, but this doesn't count special summons from the hand or extra deck. So just keep in mind that you can summon whatever you like from the extra deck, but when it comes to the main deck, you can only ignore this lock if it's a special summon from the hand. And with that out of the way, let's get into what the skill actually does. The first part of the skill sets our combo in motion. We reveal Cyberse Synchron, then we get to add either Backup Secretary or Cyberse Gadget from deck to hand. Then you discard a card. We can talk about Backup Secretary later. What's important is that we want to use the skill to reveal Cyberse Synchron, search for Cyberse Gadget, then discard that Cyberse Synchron. Then we can normal summon Cyberse Gadget, who on summon can revive a level 2 or lower monster, so we revive Cyberse Synchron. Then we can use both of these to go into our Link to Cyberse Wicked. You remember this guy, he's a part of our end board, but he's also an important part of our combo because Cyberse Gadget has another effect when he's sent from field to grave, that he makes a level 2 gadget token for you, and you're going to want to summon this token to the zone that Cyberse Wicked points to, not only so that the token is protected by destructive effects, but also to trigger Cyberse Wicked's other effect. If a monster is special summoned to one of Wicked's zones, then he can banish a Cyberse from grave to search a Cyberse tuner. So you're going to search for another copy of Cyberse Synchron. This is going to let us use the second effect of our skill to set the Cyberse Synchron from hand to field. And if you want, you can also put 2 of your Cyberse from grave and banish back into the deck. So you could put back the Cyberse Synchron and the Cyberse Gadget to use again later. The skill lets you flip up the Cyberse Synchron so that you can then use it alongside the level 2 token to synchro summon the level 3 Cyberse Integrator, who on synchro summon can revive the Cyberse Synchron from grave. Since you can do all of this while staying under Cyberse Wicked zones, this combo is entirely protected from destructive effects like needle sealing. Then you can finally use Cyberse Synchron's effect, which can double the level of a level 4 or lower monster to double the Cyberse Integrator's level, making it a level 6. Then you can synchro summon again, tuning the level 6 Cyberse Integrator to the level 1 Cyberse Synchron to synchro summon Cyberse Quantum Dragon, making sure that it's summoned onto one of the Wicked zones so that it gets its destructive protection. And finally, the Cyberse integrator will also use its effect when sent to grave to draw you a bonus card. What you get from this combo is the Cyberse Wicked and the Cyberse Quantum Dragon, both protected by destruction, and the Wicked also protected by attack and effect targeting. The Cyberse Quantum Dragon able to bounce a monster that tries to battle at one time, and a bonus draw. You got all of this, and the only thing you needed to have in your hand to do it with is the Cyberse Synchron. It isn't the best board we can make, like we've already talked about, but that is still a lot of protection and card advantage for only a one card combo. The fact that Cyberse integrator also draws us a card at the end of it is really nice too. It might draw into extenders, follow-up plays, or even back row. Needle Sealing is a really nice back row to play in this deck, since Cyberse Wicked will protect our whole board from its impact anyway. And since at a bare minimum we end on 2 monsters, the opponent will only need to summon 2 monsters for us to be able to activate our Needle Sealing. So this is going to make it super easy to prevent any combos that would lead to the opponent dealing with our board. Since all we need to have to get this combo going is Cyberse Synchron himself, we can play Signet Mining to search for it at the cost of a discard, and Tuning to search for it for no cost at all, and it'll also send the top card of the deck to the grave. Pretty much just doing what we can to search for it without using our normal summon, since we want to save our normal summon for Cyberse Gadget. This is going to be the board that you make the vast majority of your duels, and you're probably going to be setting some back row behind it. And there are plenty of quantum duelists that are completely satisfied with this end board. It's easy to make, and it's got a nice amount of protection, and if you yourself feel like you'd be satisfied with this amount of protection too, then you get to play more back row in your deck to back up your board even more. If that's what you prefer, then I would not tell you that you're wrong for doing it. It is a legitimate and successful option that you could choose for this deck. However, if you do want the combo to just go a little bit further, there is a little bit more the deck can do. Pretty much the only piece missing on our end board, if we wanted to make our nearly unbreakable board, is the Honeybot. Strictly speaking, the combo itself doesn't actually need to change in order for us to get this out. We just need to be able to summon 2 more Cyberse monsters so we can summon this to the other zone that Cyberse Wicked points to. In order to make this happen, we can play extension pieces. Cyberse monsters that aid in just getting us more monsters on board. The first extension piece is something the skill can actually search for us. When we use the first part of the skill to reveal Cyberse Synchron and search for Cyberse Gadget, you can use the skill to search for something else if you already have Cyberse Gadget in your hand. You might remember we mentioned her earlier, Backup Secretary. She simply special summons herself from hand if you control a Cyberse. So that's a nice and easy way to get a bonus body on field if you already have Cyberse Gadget in hand. Another great card we can use is Cyberse Converter. It's just a level 2 that you can search for with Signet Mining. It special summons itself if you control a Cyberse monster, just the same as Backup Secretary. And the fact that it is a level 2 means that if the opponent gets rid of your level 2 token during your plays, you can summon this to ensure that you can still synchro summon. If the opponent gets rid of your level 3 synchro, you could also summon Backup Secretary as a level 3 that synchron makes a level 6. So really, both of these extenders are super easy to summon and can help you play around certain kinds of interruptions as well. The reason it's great to have extenders that so easily special summon themselves is so that you can plunk them down on the field after doing the basic combo, so that you can go into the Honeybot, and so that the Cyberse integrator can potentially top deck into them or into Signet Mining and have them be useful right then and there. Since you don't actually have to discard Cyberse Synchron to get the combo going, you could technically also choose to play Nightmare Corruptor Ibli as the monster that Cyberse Gadget revives, because once you use it as link material to go into Cyberse Wicked, it'll summon itself to the opponent's side of the field and prevent them from being able to special summon at all except for link summons. And most decks aren't going to have a way to deal with this, so it will make your board way stronger. But this card is limited to 3, meaning that it does conflict with a limited to 3 back row you might want to play. And this play is really only that good going first and not all that helpful going second, so you may prefer not to play this. But if you did want to make an even stronger opening board, you could play one copy of this to search for with Signet Mining, the same way Signet Mining would be searching for Cyberse Converter if that's what you need. I would say that maybe the most important extension piece that a lot of people seem to be overlooking is Link Slayer. Link Slayer is a level 5 that special summons itself if you control no monsters, and it has an effect that it can once per turn discard 1 or 2 cards to target the same amount of back row and destroy them. So first things first is a special summon that we can do before starting our combo that might help us get into Honeybot. Just don't summon him to the 2 zones that Wicked would be pointing to though, because the main combo is way more important and we need those zones to be open to do that combo and end on the board that we want to end on. If we have the choice to use our left hand extra monster zone, then we will use that so we can get both arrows, but if not and we are forced to use our right hand extra monster zone, then leave the zone below it open for Honeybot if you are able to summon Honeybot. But if you aren't able to summon Honeybot, then you can put Cyberse Quantum Dragon there to get destruction protection. Making sure that we don't summon Link Slayer in the zones closest to where we are going to summon Wicked is important, not only because we don't want our Link Slayer to take up space that our end board is going to take up, but also so that if the opponent using his Warning Point, Book of Moon, Floodgate Trap Hole, or Paleozoic Canadia on our Link Slayer, then it won't be clogging up those zones either. Of course, being an easy to use extension piece is an amazing aspect of Linkslayer, but the best part about him is that him coming down to the field threatens the opponent's back row very easily. His presence on the board is going to mean that the opponent's back row isn't safe as long as we have cards that we don't feel bad about discarding, which, since this is a one card combo deck, we may very well not care about discarding very much, especially discarding things that Cyberse Gadget can revive. The threat that Linkslayer poses to the opponent's back row is going to mean that they are going to want to do everything they can to stop Linkslayer. That way, even if Linkslayer doesn't destroy any back row to make your plays easier, it will be making your opponent use some of their interruption, thereby making your plays easier. The most relevant back row in the game these days are Needle Ceiling, Crackdown, Ice Dragon's Prison, Book of Moon, Warning Point, Forbidden Droplet, and Forbidden Chalice. Every single one of these can be really detrimental to our combos if the opponent uses them at the right time. But Linkslayer will also, one way or another, force the opponent into using those back row, or will just get rid of those back row before they can use it. If you think the opponent might have Ice Dragon's Prison though, it might be beneficial to purposefully not discard a Cyberse monster for this guy's effect, so that they can't then activate the Ice Dragon's Prison. If you are able to get 2 bonus Cyberse monsters on the board throughout your turn, then after your combo, you'll be able to use them to summon Honeybot to a zone that Wicked points to, so that Honeybot points to the Cyberse Quantum Dragon, giving him the targeting and destruction protection that he gives everything else. Just something to keep in mind though, Honeybot doesn't just stop the opponent from targeting your monsters that she points to, she also stops you from targeting monsters that she points to. So that's why it's important to go into her after going into Cyberse Quantum Dragon, because Cyberse Synchron needs to target Cyberse Integrator in order to make it a level 6 so that you can synchro summon a level 7. You can, however, summon Honeybot to the leftmost or rightmost zones under Wicked beforehand if you are careful not to summon Cyberse Integrator to the zone that she points to. Sometimes the opponent's going to be able to prevent you from using your bonus extension plays even when you have them, and that's okay, because you may still at least be able to go into Cyberse Wicked pointing to Cyberse Quantum Dragon, the Cyberse Integrator drawing a card. And at the end of the day, that is the main goal of the deck that you're going to be going for the vast majority of the time. The Honeybot is more something you can do without interruption, or if your hand isn't that back row heavy. For a lot of Link decks, this one included, the most common way of ending duels is with cards that can get your opponent's cards out of the way. Nightmare Unicorn and Rustalagger. Nightmare Unicorn is a Link 3 that discards a card on summon to shuffle any opponent's target card into the deck, and Rustalagger is a Link 4 that can tribute a monster it points to non-target destroy an opponent's card, but he can also gain the attack of a Link monster engraved, potentially making him 4k attack. Things can definitely get more complicated than that, but if you can pull this off with all your special summons, and there is a lot of special summons on your follow-up play, then this is a very easy way to win the game. You could go for the combo as normal, revealing Cyberse Synchron to search Cyberse Gadget and discarding the Synchron, normal summoning the Gadget to revive the Synchron, linking him off into Cyberse Wicked, using Gadget to summon a token to the zone Wicked points to, triggering the Wicked to banish one from grave to search another Synchron, so then you can use the other part of the skill to set that Synchron and flip it up. Technically, you could still do the Synchro play here, but there's a couple quick OTK plays you could do instead. You could use the token and Cyberse Wicked to go into Nightmare Unicorn and discard a card to shuffle an opponent's card into the deck, and you'd have to use the token for this since Rustalagger can't be summoned with token. Then you can use Unicorn and Synchron to go into Rustalagger and have Rustalagger gain Unicorn's attack from grave, which is lethal damage if the opponent doesn't have anything left to defend themselves with. Alternatively, after setting up the same situation, you could use Cyberse Synchron targeting himself to make himself level 2 so that itself and the tuner can go into Update Jammer, so that you can use the Update Jammer alongside the Cyberse Wicked to go into Rustalagger, having Rustalagger attacking twice because of the Update Jammer, and having the Rustalagger gaining the Update Jammer's attack to make it 4k. Attacking twice with 4k is often going to be lethal as well. These are incredibly basic combos that you do need to know. However, you won't be going for this most of the time since there are more beneficial ways to go about it. Most of the time, the opponent is going to have too much for this play to be able to kill him. So you should instead set up your protective field so that you can go for a follow-up play next turn. Technically speaking though, if you are going second and have enough extension to get the normal play of Cyberse Quantum Dragon and Cyberse Wicked, and then also have enough materials to go into Honeybot, then instead of going into Honeybot, you might prefer to use those bonus materials to go into Update Jammer. Then use Update Jammer and Wicked together to summon Rustalagger, because Update Jammer when you use Link material will let Rustalagger attack twice. Then the Rustalagger gains Update Jammer's attack to become 4k, and it could attack with 4k attack twice, and all of that would be impossible for the opponent to stop with either targeting or destructive effects, because the Cyberse Quantum Dragon would be protecting the Wicked, Update Jammer, and Rustalagger from targeting and destruction. Let's not forget, you could also use Cyberse Quantum Dragon's effect to bounce an opponent's monster and attack again to make it easier for the Rustalagger to attack for game. This might not always be the case though, and a lot of the time, your board breaking is going to be happening the turn after you set up your protective board. The best part about follow-up in this deck is that both of the effects of the skill aren't actually once per duel, and you can use them again, which is great because on your previous turn, you'll have returned some of the combo pieces to your deck, so you'll still be able to search for them. So basically, you'll be able to get all of those special summons again to break the opponent's board with Unicorn and Rustalaiger, except you'll also be able to use monsters that you'll still have on the field to get stuff going. You can actually use the Cyberse Quantum Dragon as link material without any worry too, because if you can set a Cyberse Synchron from your hand with the second effect of the skill, you'll be able to put your Synchros back into the extra deck so that you can summon them again. This is of course if you are able to summon a level 2 to be used as synchro material alongside that Cyberse Synchron. If you are going to do that though, you have to make sure that you can summon Cyberse Integrator to the zone that Honeybot doesn't point to that Cyberse Synchron can make it a level 6. To be honest, there isn't an exact combo you have to do on your follow-up play, because you have so many special summons available to you that you can pretty much do whatever the hell you like. But I will give you some examples of what you can do if your whole board was able to survive until the next turn. If you are able to get the board of Cyberse Wicked and Cyberse Quantum Dragon and both of them survived until your follow-up turn and you have a Cyberse Synchron in hand, then you can use the first part of your skill to reveal it from your hand to search for Cyberse Gadget and discard the Cyberse Synchron. Then you can normal summon Cyberse Gadget and revive the Cyberse Synchron, then link the Cyberse Quantum Dragon, Cyberse Gadget, and Cyberse Synchron into Nightmare Unicorn. And you can use its effect if you like, but you will be able to trigger the Cyberse Gadget to summon a token to the zone that Cyberse Wicked points to, triggering the Wicked's effect to search for another Cyberse Synchron. Then you can use the second part of the skill to set the Cyberse Synchron from hand and return both of your Synchros to the extra deck. Synchro summon Cyberse Integrator, which brings back the Synchron. The Synchron makes the Integrator level 6, then you can resummon the Quantum Dragon, and then you could use Unicorn and Wicked to go into Rustalaiger, make the Rustalaiger 4200 attack by targeting the Unicorn Engrave. Then you could attack to get rid of an opponent's monster with Quantum Dragon, and attack in again with Quantum Dragon, and then attack in with 4200 with the Rustalaiger. Alternatively, with the exact same situation, with Cyberse Synchron in hand, you could use the skill to reveal it and search for Cyberse Gadget and discard the Synchron. Normal summon the Gadget and bring back the Synchron, then link the Gadget and the Cyberse Quantum Dragon together into Update Jammer, which will trigger the Gadget to summon a level 2 token to the zone that Wicked points to. And either of those summons can trigger Wicked to search for another Cyberse Synchron. But you'll also be able to link Wicked and the Update Jammer into Rustalaiger, and then the Update Jammer will let that Rustalaiger attack twice, and Rustalaiger will be able to gain its attack to become 4k attack. Then you'll be able to use the second part of the skill to set the Synchron from your hand and return the Synchros to your extra deck, and since you have 2 Synchrons, you'll be able to use Rustalaiger to tribute 1 if it points to 1 in order to non-target destroy an opponent's card. Then you can Synchro summon Cyberse Integrator and have it bring back Synchron, have Synchron make the Integrator a level 6, then Synchro summon Cyberse Quantum Dragon, and you'll have the Cyberse Quantum Dragon bounce an opponent's monster upon its attack again with it, and the Rustalaiger with 4k attack able to attack twice that turn. If your opening board was Cyberse Wicked, Cyberse Quantum Dragon, and Honeybot, technically speaking, the things I did in those last 2 combos are all still possible. It's just that you also have the bonus link to Honeybot to make your link climbing easier. You literally just have to keep in mind that you don't want the Honeybot to point to the Integrator. So whether that be by linking off the Honeybot or just by making sure that the Integrator stays away from Honeybot, just do what you need to do so that the Synchron can still target the Integrator. These aren't the combos that you necessarily have to do. These are just an example of the plays that are available to you when you are following up with this deck. Really, you can really look at your extra deck and just take your pick of what you want to do with your extra deck most of the time. The extension pieces Backup Secretary and Cyberse Converter can also give you way more summons to do on your follow-up plays. This deck really special summons out the ass, bro. This is what my own Cyberse Quantum deck looks like, but I'm gonna let you know all of the things that you might like to do differently, while also telling you what you should probably keep the same. This deck genuinely doesn't function if you don't get to use Cyberse Synchron, so above all, it is super important that you get consistent access to it. Because of that here, I have 3 copies of Cyberse Synchron himself, but also 2 copies of Tuning to search for it and 3 copies of Signet Mining to search for it. This rounds it out to having a total 8 cards in a 20 card deck that either are or will represent a copy of Cyberse Synchron. And that means we are going to have roughly a 90% chance of having some access to Cyberse Synchron in our hand. You can even bump that percentage up even further by playing 9 total cards in a 20 card deck that represents the Synchron, like having 3 copies of each of Signet Mining, the Tuning, and the Synchron itself. If you personally feel that having that much access to it is important to you, then you really should go ahead and play it that way. But I do think that if you don't feel that way, you should at the very bare minimum run 8 cards that give access to Synchron for consistency reasons. You don't even have to play 3 Signet Mining if you want, since Tuning doesn't require a discard. You could run 2 copies of that instead and then run 3 Tuning. The main thing between Tuning and Signet Mining is that Signet Mining requires a discard discard, but gives more options, while tuning doesn't give any options, but also doesn't require a discard. You can make whatever decision feels best for you. This is the decision I've made for now, but who knows, I might change my mind in the future. For the skill, you pretty much have no choice but to run one backup secretary and one Cyberse gadget at the minimum. I think that if you wanted to be able to search for the backup secretary more often with the skill, then you could also decide to play more copies of Cyberse gadget if you wanted. My thought process behind just keeping it at the minimum is that while this deck can have the option to get a stronger board, I don't want to give the deck a higher chance of bricking by doing so, I'm personally keeping the engine at a bare minimum, knowing that the bare minimum combo that this deck does is really still good enough a lot of the time, but still being able to do more if my hand doesn't have much back row in it. If you really wanted to keep it to the very bare minimum, you could honestly leave the engine here and maybe play one more extender if you wanted to, and then just fill the deck with a whole bunch of back row. I wouldn't tell you that you were wrong for doing it either. While the Honeybot is amazing, it isn't something that everybody wants to go out their way to do. So if you wanted the deck to look like this, then you could fill in the rest of the main deck with back row and be done with it. Me personally though, I do think having more extension is going to strengthen our turn 1 board in a way that can be really important in certain matchups, and also having a higher amount of special summons we can do can also help us play through certain interruptions more. So I've got the 3 Link Slayer and the 1 Cyberse Converter in here. 3 Link Slayer of course, because we love opening it as an extender and as a way to kill opponents' back row or bait out their interruptions easily, and Cyberse Converter as an awesome extension piece for our combo. After that, I have 6 slots left for back row, and this deck's engine is really nice for back row since the Cyberse Integrator will draw you a bonus card when you use it as synchro material. Being able to draw into back row is so damn nice alongside our protective end board. You can really pick whatever staple cards you want to play, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that the skill is going to lock you out of activating Ice Dragon's Prison, so you can't really play that, but apart from that, you can play what you think is best based on what you have, or based on what you think is best for the format. When it comes to the extra deck, it's honestly pretty easily. You don't really got a choice but to play Cyberse Wicked, Cyberse Integrator, and Cyberse Quantum, since they are the very heart and soul of the combo. And for breaking boards, you got the Nightmares, Unicorn, and Phoenix, and for OTKs, we got the Update Jammer into Rustaliger, and this is all stuff that honestly everybody should be running. The only difference I will say though is that Honeybot is optional depending on what version you are playing. If you are not playing the bonus extension plays like I am, then you could run a second copy of Cyberse Wicked so you can basically do the base combo again if the first one is gone. But of course, if you are playing with more extension plays, then you'll need that Honeybot to complete the lock. You could also, if you wanted to, play a copy of Herald of the Arclight as a level 4 synchro that will give you an Omni Negate, and you'd be summoning this if you can get a level 3 next to your level 1, but you've already used your Cyberse Synchron's effect, so you can't use it again in the same turn. This should honestly be everything you need to know about building the deck. Mine's looking like this and I'm really happy with it, but at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you how to build your deck, I'm just here to show you how to play it. So without further ado, it's time to do. Alright, going first here, as you can see, we already have the basic combo of having Cyberse Synchron in hand, but you know, deck thinning is deck winning, so I'm going to activate that tuning anyway. I'm going to get myself that Cyberse Synchron, and it's going to mill something, but anyway, it is what it is. Going to use that skill, search for Cyberse Gadget, and discard the Synchron. Normal summon that gadget, revive Synchron, then use both of those to go into Cyberse Wicked, which is going to trigger that gadget to give me a token here, trigger that Wicked, banishing the Cyberse Synchron, because I'm just going to shuffle back into the deck. So yeah, now we're going to be able to use the skill to set the Synchron from hand and return these guys to the deck, specifically because I can add the gadget back to my hand with this skill from the grave anyway, so it doesn't have to be in the deck. It could be nice to top deck a Link Slayer if they do manage to break my board, but also having a Cyberse Synchron is important for the follow-up play so that my Wicked can search for it. Gonna flip up, go into the Cyberse Integrator, and that's gonna revive the Synchron. I revived it to this zone. I probably should revive it to this zone. Reviving to the Wicked zones is just a good habit for your combos, just to be protected. But yeah, we're gonna go into our level 7 Synchro here. Integrator's gonna top deck a card. It's Signet Mining, and I could search for an extender here, but only one extender isn't gonna be enough. I would need to have 2 extenders, so I'm just gonna set my back row here and save the Signet Mining for a follow-up play. But yeah, he is gonna be playing Ancient Warriors here, and when he normal summons his Sun Mao, is gonna trigger his 3 visits. So I'm gonna use my Crackdown. Because the Sun Mao, any other of his Ancient Warriors activate, he could return my Quantum Dragon to hand, because Quantum Dragon is currently targeted targetable. He's indestructible, but he is targetable. I don't really want him to bounce me, so I'm going to use my crackdown to take his monster, and he's going to get himself a loyal Guan Yan. It's going to summon itself. I'm just going to flip up the needle ceiling. But yeah, easy follow-up play. The main thing is though, he does have a face down card, and that face down card is pretty important. We are going to have to talk about that in a second, but we are using the skill here to reveal and add back the gadget and discard the synchron. Then we can use the gadget to revive that synchron. He's going to activate the defense of Shangban at the start of the battle phase, could send itself to the grave so that he takes no damage that turn. That means that I can't kill him that turn. That is a pretty damn big deal, but it also has a grave effect that it can banish itself from grave upon a monster's attack in order to summon any ancient warriors from the deck. So we are going to have to play through that survival even if we can get rid of it before the battle phase. But yeah, I'm still going to be able to use my Wicked, banish a Synchro because I'm just going to return it to the extra deck anyway to get myself my last copy of Cyberse Synchron, and then with these two I can go into Update Jammer, and then with Gadget I can make a token here. I can use these two to go into Rustaliger. Update Jammer is going to make it possible to attack twice, and I have two Cyberse Synchrons here, okay, and I haven't put my Synchros into the extra deck yet. So with the skill I set the other one, and I use the skill to return both of my Synchros, and the reason that I got both of them on the field is so that Rustaliger can tribute one of them to destroy that defense of Shangban. And now I can flip summon, go into my Synchro. My Synchro is going to revive my Tuner. Tuner is going to make it level 6, go into my Quantum Dragon. Integrator is going to draw a card. It's going to be an extender, but if it was an extender and it was any other card, the Silent Mining could have discarded it to search for the extender anyway. So it's just going to be a nice and easy honeybot for me. I'm going to be able to use the Rustaliger to gain 2k attack. I'm going to attack in with the smallest monster, Honeybot, so that he uses his Changban to summon from deck. So I'm going to call off my attack him with Quantum so that he's bounced to the hand, attack again with Quantum, and then attack directly. I had a bonus attack with Rustaliger, by the way. I didn't even need it. Alright, so I am going first here against Duel. I have the Silent Mining, which can give me a Cyberse Synchron, and I could technically have discarded my backup Secretary and add it back to my hand later on in the game. However, on the off chance that my Integrator would draw me an extender, I kept it in the hand just to be a little bit greedy. But anyway, I'm going to use the skill search my Gadget, discard the Synchron. Gadget's going to revive that Synchron. They're both going to go into Wicked, and that is going to trigger the Gadget to summon myself a token to the Wicked zone, banish that Synchron to search myself another Synchron, activate the skill to set my Synchron, put my Synchron back into the deck. Actually, I choose not to put it back into the deck for some reason. But anyway, I'm going to go into my Synchro. Synchro is going to revive the Tuner. Tuner is going to make it level 6, and we're going to go into our Cyberse Quantum Dragon. So Integrator is unfortunately drawing into the wrong type of extender, that being an extender we've already activated that turn. It's unfortunate, but we're still going to set that needle ceiling. We still have solid enough protection that we're probably going to survive anyway. He's playing Ubel. He has MST. I know nobody plays MST, but he is playing MST anyway, so he's able to get rid of needle ceiling before getting a total of 4 monsters on board. I guess I could have played around that by putting backup Secretary on the board, but hey, it is what it is. He's going to be able to get his Ubel combo going. But yeah, he's also got Neos Fusion, must be nice to be him, Eternal Bond. But yeah, he's going to be able to activate Summon Breaker. That is actually pretty big and pretty important, because it is going to make it so that if I summon a total of 3 times, it becomes the end phase, but it does activate, okay? It does activate, so we got to keep that in mind. But he's going to attack in with Ubel. I'm going to trigger my Quantum Dragon to bounce the Ubel. He's going to attack with Kluger. He will beat me since the Quantum's effect is only a once per turn, but I still have my Cyberse Wicked. I have a Silent Mining to get my combos going again. So I'm going to draw. Must be nice to be me, drawing another Synchron, but I'm going to activate the skill, revealing it, get back my Gadget and discard that Synchron. Normal summon that Gadget and bring back that Synchron. Then we're going to go into the Nightmare Phoenix because we have summoned 3 times. This is our 3rd summon. It has to be Phoenix, so we can discard a card to get rid of the Summon Breaker, because Summon Breaker activates, but it's an activation, so we can prevent it by destroying it. So now the Phoenix activates, discarding. Of course, we also get to chain the Gadget to summon a token. Because of the fact that it is in the same chain, I am going to be able to keep going. So now I can go into Unicorn, co-links to Phoenix, bounce his monster, and attack in for game. Ooh, look at that. Nightmare synergy, bro. I think maybe my favorite part of this whole deck is the fact that a lot of the time, not only are you making a board that's protected from targeting and destruction, but some of your combos themselves are also going to be working with the protection helping us out. Like, as long as we put our materials into the Wicked zones, we aren't going to care about an opponent's needle ceiling. And on the follow-up plays, we really could decide to just leave Quantum Dragon out so that the rest of our board breaking can go down without the opponent having any chance to stop it. Going for an update Rasta OTK is so damn satisfying, bro. If you got the deck cards for this deck, I would definitely check this out, and I think that this deck might even have meta potential. But we want to know what you guys think about Cyberse Quantum. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it can compete in today's meta? We want to know, so let us know in the comments. And if you have any questions about the deck or in general, be sure to leave them down there as well, and we can talk about it. And if you like the video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notified every time we make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, guys, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For